Good morning. It is Monday, December the 11th. We're live at the HCCTV studios. Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. Got a very good show lined up for you. And we were talking before we went on the air, my co-host this morning, of course, Nick Cox from the history department. Nick, we're 2 weeks away from the big day, Christmas Day itself?
That's right. That's right. We're 2 weeks out.
Not long at all. And then wrapping up this is going to be a long week. But I know faculty I think you guys have one more day, like all of us. We come back on Monday and you have to turn your grades in, right?
Yeah, that's right, Todd. For every faculty out there listening, Monday, December 18th, turn your grades in.
Yeah, and we also have a big event coming up later in the week. We'll talk more about that. Our commencement for the fall, that's coming up on Friday. So it's going to be a busy week at HCC. Glad to have you with us. You know, if you are busy and you can't catch the show live, Nick, they can always watch us in social media or on our cable channel.
Yeah, that's right. We are live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page and on YouTube. We're also on X, LinkedIn, and on HCCTV at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay, Nick, stick around because you're going to be interviewing this next guest. It is Mental Health Monday, and reoccurring guest Morgan Tuck joins us this morning. And Morgan, I guess we've got a very special day coming up that you're going to be speaking about.
Yes.
Okay, and it's International Day of Persons with Disabilities. So we'll talk more about that and our counseling program in about 10 minutes. Nick will be with you shortly.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take you out. So let's see. Is she at the Southeast College? Is she at the district? You just never know because she serves two roles around here. That's right. We're talking to Dr. Frances Villagran-Glover, and she is not only the president of the Southeast College, but she's also the interim vice chancellor for student services. Very busy. She joins us now. Good morning, Dr. Villagran-Glover.
Good morning, Todd. It's so great to see you. And sometimes, yes, I don't even know where I am. So
I was going to say, do you have certain days you're here at the district or certain days that you're at the Southeast College?
Nope. It just depends on the calendar.
Depends on what's happening.
Exactly.
Well, we mentioned we have a big week coming up. We'll talk more about that in a second with about the commencement. But I know you guys had a big event last week at the Southeast College, and I saw somewhere in social media, y'all have a new mascot out there.
Oh, yes. We have a 48 feet swoop.
That's crazy.
Humongous, and it's amazing. And we can't wait to show it off to officially launch it at graduation. So our graduates and their family members can do some great photo ops. So we're excited about it.
And the event last week, what exactly was that? I know it was a night out for your college.
Yes, Southeast Campus, at our Fraga campus in particular, located off Navigation Boulevard, the heart of East Side Houston. We had a beautiful event. It was a ribbon cutting night under the stars. As you know, Todd, our Fraga campus is known for our engineering, our STEM. Just to give you some, context around the demand for STEM, in the next 10 years, we'll need 1.5 million workers in the STEM field. Our projection, especially in Houston, is over 25% increase in STEM field. So one of the outreach efforts, community efforts, is just an awareness, right, of the STEM fields. And so we had a great evening event called Night Under the Stars. We have an observatory with telescopes. We had our faculty participate with the maker spaces. We had our cohort engineering group our students did so fascinating well. We also have Apple Labs. So it was an opportunity to do a ribbon cutting for our beautiful viewfinder, which has a part that's themed with STEM, and also has a planet solar system that has planets. And what's great and particularly fun about our basketball court, Todd, is that each of the panels in the basketball court had a chemistry formula. So not only are you playing and being healthy, you're also educating yourself about some STEM curriculum. But we had a great event. We had a lot of community members. It was a great turnout, and the opportunity for our students, our community members, and our faculty to really engage and talk about the future of STEM.
Talk about the importance of having the Fraga campus and the programs that it offers, and also the labs in that part of town. Talk about that.
Well, the heart of town, it's one of our gem locations, right? And we have some really, really close partnerships with our local ISD schools. We have an early college school across the street. We have a middle college actually located in the Fraga campus. And so, really emphasizing and really connecting with also our workforce partners on the East End about the STEMs. We have the medical center, which is really close by as well. And we have a lot of, like I said, corporate partnerships like Valero, which is located on the east side, which we engage with to let our students know about the future of workforce in STEM.
We've got a big event happening on Friday, our next commencement. Tell us a bit about that, because I know it's going to be 2 sessions. Do we have a lot of students that are enrolled or signed up to walk on that day?
Sure. We have 2 ceremonies on Friday, and it's the greatest day of the year next to the holidays, right? It's a chance to celebrate with our students and our families, especially for our students who, showed the resilience about, being successful. We have over 1,200 students signed up, I believe, 600 in the morning and a little over 500, maybe close to 600 now in the afternoon session. But we're really looking forward to it. Like I said, it's one of the greatest times of the year, and especially close to the holidays, just another great opportunity to celebrate and be with families.
For students who are not graduating, that are going to be continuing on at HCC, I know we're doing spring registration right now.
Yes.
Talk about this, signing up for HCC. What advice would you give our students who haven't registered yet? Maybe they're waiting to the last minute. I know we'll have a big push in January as well to help those students as well, right?
Right. And so I just want to give a big shout out to our students who have registered already. It shows where our enrollment numbers right now. Our enrollment numbers are really, really looking good. And for any students out there, if you're listening, it's never too late to register. We're here to support you. If you don't know how to register, we have advisors, admissions specialists who are here to help you. And if you don't know how to pay, or you're waiting for the next paycheck, come talk to us. We have a payment plan. We have financial aid. So know that everyone at HCC is here just to support you. So don't think it's too late. You can register up to the first day of class. Just let us know, and we're here to help you.
We've had our Associate Vice Chancellor of Workforce, and Dr. Mike Webster has been on the show several times. And he's always mentioned, especially since pandemic, he's like, there's no better time to go to a community college because we're low cost, but there's so many sources of funding to help our students. Is that still the case now?
Oh, definitely. Whether you're taking a continuing education class, a non-credit class, or a credit class, we have different funding sources that help. We have hundreds and hundreds of scholarships. We have funding from the Workforce Commission. So anybody out there who's listening, don't think that, well, I don't have financial aid or I can't qualify for financial aid. We have different funding sources to help you. Just let us know what you need. We'll start there, and we'll find a way or make one to get you back in our classes.
Dr. Frances Villagran-Glover, we've been talking with her. She is the Interim Vice Chancellor of Student Services and the President of HCC's Southeast College. We appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning.
Thank you, Todd. All great to see you. Happy holidays.
Right. Well, happy holidays. We'll see you on Friday.
Bye.
All right. We're going to turn things over now to Nick, and you've got a special guest that's joining you as well, because it's Mental Health Monday.
That's right, Todd. We want to welcome back Morgan Tuck, HCC Northwest Counselor, and our Mental Health Monday guest today. Welcome back to the show, Morgan.
Good morning. Thank you for.
Well, last week, I understand, was International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Tell us about why we celebrate this worldwide event.
Well, as you all know, persons with disabilities is very near and dear to my heart as being the ADA counselor. But the purpose of this particular event, there were a few actually, primarily is to promote the understanding of disability issues, because so many people don't necessarily realize or know a whole lot about with disabilities. In addition to that, and encourage the support for rights, dignity, and the well-being for persons with disabilities to raise awareness, mobilize support for the inclusion of people with disabilities, and then, of course, to draw attention to the benefits of all the inclusive society that we may have, especially at HCC.
Well, let me ask you about specifically here at HCC, what are some of the sort of rights or accommodations that are most important for a college setting?
Absolutely. So as far as accommodations goes, that's really going to depend upon the student and their disability and their impairment. But just to give you an example, some really popular accommodations that we have would be to have, let's say, distraction-reduced environments. So that is primarily for students who get distracted very easily. Also, extended test time. So typically, that's one that I give out very often. Most really looking for that extra time on their exams and quizzes so they don't necessarily have to feel rushed, or if they need to reread questions, or if they have any sort of like processing issues. And sometimes it sort of takes them a little minute for things to sort of click with them. So having that extra time can really make a big difference and can be the difference between passing and failing for many of our students.
No, I think that's really important for everybody to hear, because we often think about disabilities as things that we can see that are physical, that involve something like loss of sight or mobility. And, we can accommodate those with various things. But for people with disabilities that might affect the processing or issues of emotional and mental health, like anxiety or ADHD or any of those things, sometimes those are invisible disabilities, and we need to accommodate those as well. So I understand this International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Every year, they focus on a particular theme. What is this year's theme?
Yes, sir. So this year's thing, I'll admit, was a little lengthy. So let me see. It is called United in Action to Rescue and Achieve the Sustainable Development Goals for, with, and persons with disabilities. I thought it was a really unique theme, because when it talks about rescuing and achieving the sustainable development, I feel like we all sort of play a part in making sure that not only awareness is being brought, but that it's sustainable. And when it comes to their rights, responsibilities, that it is well known, and not only for us to know, but for them to know as well.
So can I ask you to translate that theme a little bit for us in the HCC context? What are our sustainable goals? What are we planning to do?
Absolutely. So one of our primary goals is to always bring awareness to disability services. So with ability services, we primarily, again, will provide the accommodations, but we also advocate for our students. Many of them, depending upon their disability, they may not know how to advocate for themselves. They may not necessarily be aware of what their rights are. So I know that we take great pride in making sure that we educate them on what they need to know, but then also be an advocate. And that can look like advocating for treatment for them, as well as in the classroom. So sometimes talking to professors, talking to deans, and then as well as doing outreach programming that can bring awareness to the entire HCC community.
I was looking at these numbers, and I was really surprised to see that 15% of the world's population has a disability, and 80% of them are acquired. They're not disabled at birth, but they're acquired disabilities. How does that relate to our HCC population, our college students and faculty and staff?
Absolutely. So we're pretty on par with it. And one thing that I want to mention, that that 15%, that is what is reported. So not every student, especially at HCC, is necessarily registered with our Ability Services Office. So when we talk about the statistic, that is what is reported. So many people may not necessarily be aware that they have a disability, or their condition could qualify as a disability. So one thing that I want to highlight, as you mentioned, is not just necessarily something physical, like a hearing impairment or a visual impairment, but it can also be a learning disability, a cognitive disability. It can be something psychological, in addition to something physical, or a combination of all of those things, or a few of those things. And as far as our HCC population, we're pretty much on par with those statistics.
Well, now I have a question for you, since you mentioned that some of these disabilities are unreported and often invisible. What about temporary disabilities? And I'm thinking about recovering from an injury or a surgery or something of that nature, something that's not a lifetime disability. But do we accommodate those as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, for example, if you got into a car accident and you broke your leg, and let's say, that happened in August, and the fall semester typically begins in August, you definitely can come and get in accommodations for your mobility issues. Now, because we would probably deem that as a temporary disability, we would give you an accommodation for the entire semester. And then at the end of that semester, hopefully, about 4 months will be healed. But if not, then you would have an opportunity to renew those accommodations. But typically, if it is something that you don't believe that you're going to be dealing with for an extended period of time, you can still come and get an accommodation for it. That also includes pregnancy. We have what we call Title IX accommodations for our pregnancy and our parenting students as well. So you can get specialized accommodations for that. So there's all sorts of things that we can assist with. Again, even if you don't necessarily believe that it may not be an accommodation, or it may come and talk to us, because you would be surprised on what would be covered under ADA. So we don't want any of our students to go without. So, if anyone has any questions or just more information, there's lots of information on our website. But any of the ADA counselors would be more than happy to go over your condition and tell whether or not if it would qualify for ADA services.
No, that's wonderful to hear about some of these sort of temporary disabilities that students and faculty may not realize we can accommodate. I certainly hope I'm getting this right, but as a manager, I understand staff and faculty have to have their ADA accommodations reviewed annually. Is that true for students? Are they typically given either a open-ended accommodation for the length of their enrollment, or a semesterly accommodation for temporary disabilities? Are they subject to annual review?
So whether it's temporary or it's a permanent disability, for the students, they have to be reviewed every semester. So every single semester, they have to come and get a new accommodations letter. Now, depending upon what the accommodation is, sometimes we require have them to bring in additional paperwork or updated paperwork, but sometimes we don't. It just sort of depends. But either way, they do have to come and visit with us and get a new letter every semester. The letter that we give them is going to cover all of their classes, regardless of what campus they're at or the type of class that they're taking. However, because we build the accommodations based around the classes that they're taking, because they switch classes every semester, they have to make sure that they get a letter, especially if they are in technical classes to where they have to do more, things with their hands, or, they may have to be moving around a lot, which is going to be factor then if it was more of like a lecture, they were just sort of like sitting down and like listening to. But we try to make sure that all the information is accurate and up to date. So that is why we require them to come in every semester to get a new letter from us.
No, that's great. And I see that faculty are often engaged in professional development and course design on principles of what we often call universal design, which is meant to create courses that introduce accommodations for people with disabilities that might be actually beneficial to every student, those with or without disabilities, especially since they're unreported or invisible. Sometimes these universal design principles can be helpful. What are other things that HCC can do to support students with disabilities that we haven't already covered? What else is out there?
Absolutely. So I think that we're already doing a really good job of this, but we could continue to create a culture of inclusion for our students with disabilities, focusing in on campus design and planning. So just sort of taking things into consideration, as far as I know at the A-Leaf Hayes campus, for example, all of our doors, we have like ADA doors, right? To where you can just press the button and both sets of doors will open automatically. So if you are in a wheelchair or mobily impaired in some sort of way to where you don't have an issue trying to open the door. And let's say if you also had a backpack or just other materials with you. So that's just one example of how when we're designing and planning our buildings to keep that in the mind. And so I think, like I said, we're doing a really, really good job of that. We can also reflect on how our language is being used. And so, being very cognizant of not using words, for example, like retard, like that is not, a PC anymore, right? And so, we really try to make sure that our community is informed, right, as far as proper to address our students, so we're not offending them and we're not making them feel like they don't necessarily belong. Other things that we can do is to build our faculty capacity. So, the faculty have any questions or issues as far how to accommodate the student or how to support them, because again, we can't ask the student if they have a particular or any sort of disability. They have to disclose it on their own. Sometimes we may suspect, that something may be going on, but we can't go up to them and ask them. So just being able to have resources available generically, or at the very least being able to point those students in the right direction so they don't feel isolated and they can get the support that they need. So making sure that our faculty are equipped is a really big part of that as well. And of course, ensuring that our technology is accessible, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
well.
making sure we're looking at our Canvas shells and our various educational tools. Well, Morgan, I'm not sure if I'll see you until January when we come back for another Mental Health Monday, perhaps, but thank you for being here today and enjoy that winter break.
I appreciate you. Same to you.
All right. Thank you both. A few announcements for today. First off, are you ready for 2024? Digitally, that is. Well, check this out. 2023 has had one of the most profound impacts on AI and how it can be leveraged in business. This free virtual webinar, co-sponsored by HCC, gives answers in real time from Beth Guide, president of Vertical Web. You want to check it out? It's at the HCC Spring Branch Performing Arts Center, 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday, December the 13th. We'll have some information in our post after the show. We've also got a media arts showcase going on around the college.
That's right, Todd. At the end of the term, we have a lot of things going on with the arts. And this Saturday, December 16th at 6 p.m., there will be a media arts showcase, which is a compilation of projects. This is a public screening of student work that includes the TV field, TV production, lighting, cinematography, directing, and audio recording. So if you're interested in film or getting to know HCC's future filmmakers, this will be at the Spring Branch Performing Arts Center. Check the post after the show for more information.
We started during the pandemic, these virtual online academic information sessions for admissions. Well, we're continuing those because they're very popular. Starting your higher education can be intimidating, but HCC is here to help with virtual sessions to assist with how to apply, college admission steps, financial aid, education pathways, student support, and so much more. To find out when these information sessions are scheduled, we'll have a link in our post after our show. And there's also fast track training we talked about earlier when I was with Dr. Villagran-Glover. We talked about programs that are completely paid for. Well, fast track training is available as well, Nick.
Yeah, these you can check out these programs, these fast track training programs. They're going to equip you with skills to do exactly what you need to do to land a job or get back to work fast, and at no cost if you qualify. Check our post after the show for more information.
Okay. Announcements this week. Now, keep in mind, Friday is our commencement. We have two of them, one of them in the morning, one of them in the afternoon. So because of that, we will not be on the air live with Up to the Minute. In fact, our last show of the year is going to be on Thursday. So it's hard to believe we have just zoomed through the semester. But as the semester draws to a close, we'll get ready for winter break and no Up to the Minute during the break. So, Nick, we won't be returning till middle of January when classes start.
Yeah, the regular term for the spring session starts, I guess, that Tuesday after Martin Luther King Day holiday, somewhere around January 16th or so. So there'll be no, we'll see you again for another Monday show for a month. But right. Spring registration is open. The winter mini session starts next Monday. Those classes are really filling up quickly now, 7 days at a time. online on a schedule with virtual meetings. We have traditional classes in person. We have hybrid classes that meet part in person, part online. And of course, our labs can be taken traditionally in person or hybrid as well. To learn more about HCC programs, start dates, modalities, class options, anything related to costs of classes, go to hccs.edu/apply.
So Nick, tomorrow is Tasty Tuesday, but you could also be Taco Tuesday. One of my favorite restaurants. I love this place. Tacos A Go-Go. They're going to be on the show tomorrow for Tasty Tuesday. And they'll be talking about tamales because of the winter session. It's a tradition. So the winter break's coming up. We'll be talking tamales, winter break with Tacos A Go-Go.